Hey, what's up, everyone? Um, I wanted to talk about my past. My life was good up until I was about 8 years old. Then I left school, I didn't go back, and I got into trouble. So I ended up going to this group home, and they gave me risperidone there, this antipsychotic drug that makes you feel miserable. And so from ages 8 to 12, I was in group homes and on farms and medicated, and I was sent to this place called Youthdale 3 times. And it really separated me from my friends and my family. The three friends I saw as a child that went away, it got replaced by adult friends who were paid, who I still made connections with, but it wasn't the same as having kids my age. So when I was 12, I got out. I got into drugs when I was 14. I tried my first joint. I got way too high. Then I got into daily drug use when I was 15. I would use 5 to 10 times a day. I was very isolated and paranoid. I wouldn't go outside. I wouldn't do anything outside. I would stick to the indoor area. I would stay away from the windows. I was very paranoid of people seeing me. Um, when I ate, I was always socially anxious with whoever I was with. My adult friends continued to see me, but some of them. But yeah, so my life went downhill quickly. Over about a year, I had a few very high doses of lorazepam and zopiclone, and I tried salvia several times. I tried DXM and a little bit of Benadryl, and so my life went to shit. I remember being so lazy that I had to, whenever I felt like I needed to pee, I just peed in the garbage bin because it was beside me. I became a masochist. I remember that phase. Um, and then the last time I tried salvia, I started going insane. So I had to stop weed. I stopped most drugs. I stopped the stimulants I was doing. And I started praying to God, and my hair was thinning. I was losing it. I was losing my hair. I was also losing my mind. And I started to become delusional, thinking that I was supposed to commit suicide to marry someone in the higher realm, and that I was Satan's son, um, that I was Jesus. I started to believe that for short periods of time. I ended up going insane, and I was in a hospital where it felt like they were putting me in hell. I literally thought I was in an oven at the time, and I was catatonic. I couldn't open my eyes. I couldn't talk. I couldn't move. Um, I could hardly think, and so that was one of the scariest experiences of my life. Um, I remember when I was 15, I had an interesting uh, experience on mescaline, where I was looking at the backyard. I was in the backyard, and the trees had been cut down, and I remember seeing an overlay of the past, and in the past there were these trees. So I saw the trees, and there was this opening that I used to go to. I used to go through it with my friends to the neighbor's lawn, and I saw that overlaid on my vision. But anyway, back to the story. So at 18, I went into drug use. I used weed like 30, 40 times a day, hash, uh, a long-acting stimulant called Vyvanse, alcohol every day, and I would go into these stupors, and my using would be like cyclical. I would use one drug after the other, and as I entered this stupor, I became unable to think. I had to close my eyes sometimes because everything looked so ugly. But here's the important thing about this video. When I was 19, I'd been put in these fucking treatment centers and these hospitals, and just bored out of my mind. And when I was 19, I finally made the decision to listen to my mom and to do everything as well as I could and to stay clean. And I managed to do that for a while. Um, I went to small schools, those tiny, like 15-person schools, because that was all I could do at first. Um, I started going to Narcotics Anonymous meetings, these NA meetings, that really helped me out because people welcomed me with a hug. They allowed me to share at their meetings. At the time, I shared through fear because I wanted people to know my story so that I wasn't alone in this hell of feeling like some secret authority is trying to trap me in some psychological version of an oven. And I was telling my story, and so um, anyway, I went to meetings 4 or 5 times a week. I got introduced to new meetings. I kept sharing my story. I shared my difficulties. Um, and I relapsed every 2 or 3 months, but I would get right back on the horse as soon as I hopped off. As soon as I used, I would get back on the horse and pick up my white key tag. The most I ever got was a 6-month key tag for 6 months clean. I got to about 7 months, and then I started using heavily again for about, I don't know, 7, 8 months. I got a girlfriend, all of that. It was a very special experience to have a girlfriend. The first and only one I've had so far. Um, and yeah, I remember like I would use a lot of drugs and come out of it and feel okay, and use again and feel okay. And so here I am with about 5 months clean. I go to NA meetings every day. My girlfriend, by the way, I'm like 22 years old now. I was 21 back then. My girlfriend was like 45 years old. But we had a close connection. We had, we were close. We promised, never to see each other less than once a week from then on, even if things went sour, which they kind of did. In my life, I spent about 4 months being the observer of my body because of all the drugs I had done and what I considered to be like hijacking of my body. Um, I was an observer. Like my body was doing drugs and eating food and talking on its own, and I was just there observing it. So, I mean, you hear these horror stories, here's what happened to me because I did drugs. I thought I was in an oven. I thought I was going to be put in an oven forever or for the rest of my life. I thought I was going to be in hell for 500 years. And then 2, 3 years later, because I started using again, I overdosed on 37 Benadryls because my body made me take it, and I wasn't able to stop it in time. And um, and I fell off from about 4 to 5 meters. I fell from a balcony, my girlfriend's balcony, onto concrete. And I'm lucky. I fell on my back and on my butt. And I'm lucky. I was only in the hospital on a wheelchair for like 3 months. And I'm mostly recovered now. I broke 8 bones, my heel bones, my pelvis, and 5 vertebrae. So I was the observer of my body for several months, and then I came back to NA, and in the meetings, my mouth spoke. I wasn't the speaker, I was observing. And slowly, I built the courage to start using my own body again, because I was not using it out of fear. Every time I tried to use my body through my own will, it felt like it was breaking down, like I was breaking down psychologically from using my body because the drugs I was on were fucking with me. So now I've been clean for about 5 months. Next month I'm going to pick up my second 6-month key tag or whatever, 6-month key tag. I can't wait till I have a year clean. I can't wait to be a speaker and share my story at these Narcotics Anonymous meetings. It's really like at 16, when I was first introduced to NA, I was like, fuck this crap. I hate God. I hate these all this talk about a higher power, about God, about whatever. But once you get to know the meetings and the people there, it's really a warm environment. It's a warm atmosphere. And yeah, like I try not to miss meetings now. I go about 5 times a week. Um, Now my life is relatively stable, except I feel like I'm kind of in the grasp of some invisible power that's trying to like hijack me and control me and put me in hell. But I've got hope now because I've been clean and I've been loved by so many people. And my mom over there, she takes good care of me. Whenever I have trouble deciding something for myself, she helps me decide. You know, I've got a good life now, and that's what I wanted to share with you guys. If you've got a drug problem, consider Narcotics Anonymous because it's a good place. um, I was diagnosed with schizophrenia like half a year to a year ago, but I'm not so sure about that. The psychiatrist didn't know what she was talking about. But anyway, I'll leave you with that. Thanks for watching. Peace out.